Oh, hello there. Yes, well into September, isn't it? Sticky thunderstorms, that kind of thing. Bit yuck, really. Anyway, today I thought we'd have a look at those also rans because there must be some people out there that are a bit hacked off at the resurgence of the right when they're on the right and they've been plugging away at things for years and still can't get anywhere. I'm thinking of Paul Golding and Britain First, who had their recent summer conference. Nice kind of packed scout hut they've got there, as you can see, and yes, they managed to get quite a lot of people to go, most of whom were white, actually. Anyway, good luck to them. As ever, they do put in sterling work. The problem, of course, is that they are actually Nazis. This is the issue. You see, I mean, it's become acceptable because the inevitable onward march of the right. It's become acceptable to basically have broadly fascist and certainly racist opinions, but it's still a bit too far to be an actual Nazi. So those people that can trace themselves back to Mosley or the NF or the BNP, like, for example, Paul Golding, who, don't forget, used to be a BNP councillor, and some of the little offshoots parties which we'll come to, unfortunately are still beyond the pale. What I would suggest is if ever somebody like Jordan Peterson suddenly decides to interview Paul Golding or maybe the Lotus Eaters, you can see exactly how far we've gone. But for now, that particular virulent, tainted by Nazism and fascism form of political party is still beyond the pale. It might not last, though. Of course, the problem with Britain First isn't so much that they are a little bit toxic. It's just that they're a little bit, moronic, effectively. Seriously poor old Paul is seriously lacking in brain cells. I mean, Tommy and some of the other ones are probably reasonably au fait in terms of networking and getting out there and getting all of that delicious US money. But Paul is kind of stuck with his limited mental capacities and his limited number of people around him. I mean, they've got a van and occasionally they'll sort of put up flags on motorways, but there isn't really a lot going on. I mean, historically, they used to sort of have quite a high profile in terms of, basically grabbing hold of very big crosses and annoying people in Luton back in the EDL days. But it's just so easy, I think, or perhaps maybe too easy to poke fun at them. For example, Paul does love to post things like this up, so let's just sort of dissect some of this sort of recent stuff that he's put up. First of all, we've got this, a TikTok thing he'd posted about VE Day in Europe in 1945, and what happened to the greatest nation on earth. Left-wing politics took over after the war. Our politicians became spineless fraudsters. Our people lost their national identity. The list is endless. I don't think it is, Paul. I think the list is actually quite short, but the irony, of course, is that when you see cinema, film, or indeed photographs of VE Day, the overwhelming majority of those people will have voted Labour. It was an absolute landslide, which Churchill and the rest of the establishment just didn't see coming. There was an assumption that Churchill would be a shoo-in, and he wasn't. So even before the end of the war, you had a Labour majority government because people didn't want to go back to the 1930s. It appears that that particular lesson hasn't quite been learnt enough. Maybe, partially, a bit, maybe, but certainly not with a Labour government. Or indeed, this one, which got me chuckling, okay? There are nearly 500 Cuban migrants who have landed by boat in the Florida Keys since December the 30th. Yes, dreadful, isn't it? Yeah, migrants coming in by boat. Yeah, the United States is being invaded by boat, the same as the English Channel and the Mediterranean. Yes, except, Paul, you haven't got the message, mate, okay? The Cuban migrants are anti-communist migrants and therefore are the salt of the earth and very, very nice brown people, okay? Obviously, he hasn't got that particular memo, but you can see the problem here. The guy has no concept of history at all. Does he? No. There are those other kind of very, very minor groups. I mean, probably the least, or maybe perhaps in many ways the most respectable, oddly enough, the British Democrats, because not far from me, they've actually got a few councillors. I mean, it does show you, if you concentrate on dog poo bins and public toilets, you can actually get people elected. And just on that basis, well done, lads. They are all lads as far as I can make out. You've then got the sort of slightly nuttier side of patriotic alternative, who the very genuine Nazis are very, very keen on, or certainly they were about a year ago. They cropped up everywhere in my comments. But they actually went outside Belmarsh recently and protested about our political prisoners. Yeah, all right then. Anyway, Turning Point have sort of latched on to them somewhat. They obviously are good mates with Turning Point, which tells you everything you need to know about Turning Point. Of course, doesn't it? Yes. But I just thought I'd say that today. I mean, poor old Paul. I mean, he has put a lot of work in over the years. I mean, he is an awful racist and an awful grifter and at heart a dreadful con man. I mean, he started off down on the southeast coast, around sort of places like Bexhill, where he'd get money for heroes, except the heroes didn't quite ever seem to receive the cash. Yes. Anyway, just thought I'd share that quick one with you today. Do have a lovely day if you can do, and midweekish thing in September, and I don't know what I'm doing with my life anymore. I don't know. Never mind. Something. Making videos for you lot, I suppose.